So one of the big things about Italian manufacturer Beta is that they've got a huge range. We've always said like a smorgasbord of bikes, and I think, you know, a lot of people have been buying the up-spec race bike. That's sort of overtaken some of their other models, and according to, you know, the guys at Beta Australia and also a lot of their dealers, maybe the wrong people are going for an up-spec bike. Interesting thing is with that model range, what Beta did end of last year for the 2025 model is introduce RR Pro, but a different sort of philosophy, and the idea from Beta is that was a better middle ground between their existing offerings, the cross trainer and the race model. So we wanted to test that proposition. I mean, Beta's sort of saying, hey, you know, 70% of people, 70% of their customers should be really aiming for this X Pro model. We've got together with Geoff Ballard, Aussie enduro icon, up at his place up here west of Sydney, up in the Blue Mountains at Hampton. Got some amazing trails and fire trails, all a really good blend of trails, and we're basically here to hook up with Geoff, who's had the bike for a couple of months now, and just to test that proposition.
People who know me are going to go, this is not right. Ballard doesn't work right. He spent 25 years washing bikes in the race team, he's over it.
You've always said to me, like, setting up two strokes and steering them, I think you mean rear wheel steering is something that, why you always lean towards four strokes, right? Because I think about you and I see he's a four stroke guy a lot of the time, you know?
Yeah, well I have had some experience where I go, not really a fan, you know. But this one's bloody good, steers unreal.
I thought you were already bloody...
No, but now it's lighter and I'm just going to reset and check.
Yeah.
I sort of wanted it. I'm going to go for about 37 on the phone, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I'll drop it. So when?
Put a bit more in here. That's the chain loop, whoops. Gotta be kidding, and anyway, they talked me into it. Borrowed some neat guards. Carby, how cool it is. Starts like that.
Yeah.
You want a demo?
You hardly get any traction anywhere. And it's bumpy thanks to a bunch of pros getting around.
How you finding it, mate?
Really felling.
This is where two strokes are good. When it's a bit like that, you know, pretty choppy, rough, slippery. It's a bit lighter, you know. It does feels alright around here for me.
Just so slick on those hills. Now, why don't you ask me how my high seat's going, mate? Tell you what, she's a, what do you say, two-storey building, nosebleed?
It's a two-storey model, yeah, the nosebleed model. I like it in many ways. Maybe not around here.
I've got to say though, this is the sort of track is where a low seat height actually really pays dividends. So
yeah.
Just having that security of being able to paddle if you need to.
Good enduro shit.
Do the maps actually change stuff?
Yeah, they do a bit, yeah. Yeah, it's I'm not a real fan of map changing that much, especially if it's a powerful bike, more so. But on this I ran on the Sunshine, which I feel like it initially had more bottom end, and I thought, yeah, that's me. Then I tried it on, let's call it the mud map or rain map. I could make less mistakes for sure, I was smoother, and then there's a couple of pits where you go, oh, I wanted the more mumbo. You just bloody clutch it a bit, you know, and I'm running it on that now, you know.
Holy moly. Just wrestling. Slow and still wrestling. I know. That's my point. I think you go slow, you go slower.
Check this out too. Side stand, it's heaps better. you know, on a downhill here, but the old one was a bit short, so this is good.
Side stand's no different, but the bike's lower, right?
Yeah, side stand's the same, I think.
Yeah.
But it makes a difference with a bit lower.
The bike's caught up to the side stand.
I might as well blast there, blast there, blast. Looks flash enough to be lithium. Lightweight battery, yeah.
Hey, thanks for that.
Yeah,
pretty,
it was a good ride.
Mate, aside from the fact it was 3 degrees out there today, it was
And pretty slippery, right?
pretty slippery. Pretty bloody good. Good special test, good combination special test, moto, snotty, nice trail ride, bit of open stuff, and then some of that pine stuff, which I know is your favourite backyard, snotty stuff.
You know, trail rides are trail rides, there's racing, and if you're a racer or testing, I kind of like the loops for that reason, you know, to push yourself more and all that. But we do plenty of trail riding here where we're just having fun and we're cruising, and that's one of the things I'd like to point out is that when we go trail riding, it's like a huge loop of a little test track, let's say. You might know where you're going, but there might be trees down, you don't ride at 10 tenths, you know, so that's one of the bases to it. And so when you're, let's say, cruising more, the suspension I think is pretty good on this. I like it, you know. Yeah. To me it's comfortable. But if you're genuinely into single track and more technical and you like going down rocky creek beds and that's your thing, then this sort of thing is really good, you know. So this is a good bike, you know.
I think you said it over there a couple of times today when you pulled up and it was snotty and was slithering into corners and all the rest of it. And this thing was actually visibly getting traction and really sort of planted and sure-footed. I don't know how the hell you're going that quick on that slick stuff. But a couple of things that have jumped at me, compliant suspension, which you've talked about. Yep. And you pulled up and you said, yeah, you know what, your motocross suspension this shit, right? Because that's exactly when, like, you know, the idea of a closed cartridge fork with XV progression and big, you know, bottom resistance, you just don't need it, right? You don't.
I didn't bottom it anywhere. It's got plenty of mud on it, so it's got a bit more weight. But it's that sort of, that harsh medium bump that you get is so much in enduro, and the rocks and the roots and all that sort of stuff. I've taken it onto the moto track, and it's definitely not a motocross bike, you know. I can bottom it and you definitely know it's too soft, you know. Yeah. You know, we got a thing up there called Bewley's Bumps. He used to race for us, and it's a section we used to use. Oh, that series of whoops? Yeah, and it's not good through there. It's okay, but it's not supposed to be that good in that area. And so, you know, around all the other stuff, I like it. Trail riding, it's easy. The snottier it is. If you're into that stuff, we're into pretty good single track and that. But if you like doing wheelies and flat out down the fire roads, maybe get something else, you know? Yeah. But this is a good all-rounder for that sort of stuff, and if you believe that's you, this sort of thing I think can work pretty well.
So this X Pro to the race bike, you go from I think 910 to 930 to 950, so 20 mil. So this is 20 mil lower than its predecessor, the straight up RR one, right? So is that you know, I know that you really liked the technical stuff on the X Trainer. This has got a bit of that sort of like extra standover, extra security kind of as well. Yeah,
there's a bit of security, a bit of you feel like you're on top of the bike a bit more. Yeah. So there's good points and bad points. It's very flat, so it's still everything feels right. But you do kind of appreciate the lowness of it, especially in that stuff. Yeah. And the more you got into harder enduro, you don't want to be tall, tippy-toed, you know. If you're a giant of a man, then maybe it wouldn't matter that much, but most people aren't that big, so and bike's pretty tall, so the seats, I like that. When I did my majority of early riding, it wasn't like a mud bath, so and I can push it as hard as I can push it, and don't have any issue with bottoming and everything in what it's designed for, you know. Yeah.
And that's why I think you got me on the blower a couple of months ago, and like, I actually love this thing. I didn't think I was going to, but I actually do. Yeah. It's a two-stroke, you know, it's kind of like... I pressed you and said, but what's it like when you hit some erosion mounds? And you're like, it's pretty bloody good. So
it's fine, You know, for something that I've done very little mods to, in fact, suspension I haven't really changed. We have played around a little bit with the preload on the fork, which is cool that it's got it.
Yeah. Jetted for altitude?
Yeah, we're quite high here, so I've just dropped the needle, so I haven't even gone any further than that.
Yeah.
The gearing, everything's good, the gearbox is good, there's nothing really to complain about. It's the gear lever's the only thing I think I've modified. What else have I done? Pre-mixers here, so you don't have to mix it. I'm lazy fuck, so I like that. Map changes here. Good all-rounder. I've got a little bit of protection for the gear lever that I've mucked around with on this side, but...
Oh, you moose spaced out back plate, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so the whole idea of this is out maybe a little bit more, but you often run things that, you know, branches and that, and they'll come in here, they get in here and they'll bend it all out. So I've just pushed, I think I might have glued it, I can't even remember. No, it's just sitting there. It's a bit of mousse, but because this thing normally touches the case, or pretty much, and I just bent it out there. So now when it hits here, it just seems to deflect it there.
The rain mat, when you first got it, you're like, what do you need this for? You don't need it. It's not a bloody fire-breathing 60 horsepower thing.
Yeah.
But I think you said you kind of suddenly got to learn to appreciate how good it was actually in some of that snottier stuff.
Yeah, I just a few less mistakes. Could be more smooth around a corner, and even though it seemed to lack a bit of power in some of the straights, I just went, hang on a sec, there's a clutch as well, I can clutch it and really make it boogie, you know.
And talking about tuning the bike, you know, you've also got the power valve, just the preload adjuster. So not to mention changing springs, but you know, you got about 2.5 turns, I think, from flush, and that makes a huge difference in my experience with last year's RR as well. And I wrote a bit of a note, right, like what they said who it's supposed to suit, didn't they say? Didn't they say something about 70% of riders? I'm pretty sure they did. Yeah, they said it should, or who should be buying this is 70% of riders. So basically, when like 18 months ago, when the race model started selling more than this one, they were like, hey, one on everybody, like you said, don't be kidding yourself. Like if you are somebody who, you know, like, you want a great all-rounder that rides a mixture of trails, faster tracks, and some text terrain, or if you're an experienced enduro rider who rides for fun but doesn't want to push it all, at your elite race level, you should be looking for this, right? Not buying the red, white, and blue race model.
Yeah, and elite, I guess the word elite, yeah, and don't kid yourself, but you know, it's like the other one's called race, right? And it's certainly for the elite, like race guys, but I still like racing a bit, and I would rather race that because it suits me better, you know. It's designed, it's like they said, and I'm in that period now where I'm no pro, I'm just this bloke in this, let's say 70%, whatever you just said. That's more realistic, you know.
And if you'd have that, you know, that punchy and really amazing 300 two-stroke race model, RR race model in that snotty stuff today.
Yeah, not only the power, but the firmer suspension, and you know, if you aren't pushing it all the time, and if you're trail ride, why do you want that thing? It's good if you're just racing all the time and you're elite. Yeah. But if you're not elite, you're not elite. So
I think this thing is, well, the predecessor was one of the biggest sellers for them. Yeah. Behind the X-Trainer, and I think this thing sort of sounds like designed to be more user-friendly for more terrain, for more riders. Fair?
I think they nailed it. It's what they're claiming is what I reckon it is. Yeah, pretty good.
Did we say the other day we ran a piece on the website about Beta announced their 2026 model version of this? Did you see that? No.
I never watch any of your shit, mate.